So this is what you are going to be working on for the rest of the class period. You have this slide on Canvas, so you have these directions. I just wanted to walk you through it really quickly. You are making a mind map of all of the 5 religions that we just talked about. You are going to find your information through this link at the top. The BBC website is what you're going to use. You are making a mind map. So that means you are not just making a Google Doc and typing out all of this stuff. Like if you do this digitally, then you need to be using a Google Draw and importing like different pictures and making different sections, because this is straight up not just going to be a list of answers to like this stuff that I'm asking you to do. Okay, so it's really like a map, because you're gonna have to draw arrows and like make them connect at the end, and you can't do that if you're just writing out line for line on a Google Doc. Okay, so please do this either on a Google Draw, maybe even like a Google slide presentation or something if you add in different text box or whatever, but you'll just keep it on one slide. You're not going to have multiple slides, just one document. Or you can go grab paper over by the door and do it on paper if that is what you want. Mine was on paper, whatever makes sense to you, okay? But this is going to be a map. So for each religion, you need to think about these dots down here to go over each of these things for each religion, okay? So you need to think about what the culture traits are. So thinking about what type of clothing is specific to that religion, or what's the holy text or the book that they go by. What are their worship sites like where do they worship? Are there any certain rituals or rites of passage or holy days for that religion? Are there specific holidays, festivals, or specific food that they eat for each of these religions, okay? You need to list that stuff out for each of the religions. The next thing says cultural landscape. This is a big idea and big vocabulary like term. We kind of talked about it the other day, but cultural landscape, when we are talking about religion, is thinking about like what is the religious significance of things that you can see as a part of the landscape. So what do their worship sites look like, and like is it influencing certain architectural features? So I want you to think about or look at pictures of what their worship building looks like, and is there stuff on that building that is specific to that religion, and like then is that influencing other buildings or things around that area, if it's mostly an Islamic area, or is it if it's mostly a Jewish area, are those architectural features seen in other buildings too, okay? Also think about sacred sites, again, like their worship sites, okay? And also think too about like their celebration of like milestones. So like what do weddings and funerals really in the religions are kind of specific to how they celebrate weddings and how they celebrate death and things of that nature. And so what do they do? How can you see that then visible on the landscape? Okay, so you'll give me that for each of the religions as well. Hearth, remember, means that it's the starting place. So where did it start? And the diffusion pattern, which we just kind of talked about. We talked about lots of different types of diffusion for each of these religions. So go back and find that from your notes, or go back and re-listen to the other video that you just watched and include that on there as well. And then the last thing I need you to do is make connections, okay? So this means you're going to be drawing arrows between each of the religions. So think about like which ones are polytheistic, which ones are monotheistic, what are some similarities, things of that nature, okay? So on your mind map, you'll have different spots for your religions, okay? So Christianity might be in one corner, Islam might be in one corner, Judaism... Ooh, I spelled that wrong. Oops. Hinduism. What's the other one? Oh, Buddhism. Okay, whatever. So you'll have it all written out on one page, okay? And you'll have your information written underneath it, whatever blobs visually, however it makes sense to you visually, okay? And then at the end, then that is where you're gonna start making connections between different religions, and you'll tell me what it is, okay? Maybe Hinduism and Judaism are linked somehow, and you'll tell me what it is for, okay? Or how they're linked or whatever, okay? So make sure that you are drawing arrows in between the religions after you're done. So this is what you will do for the rest of the class period, and you need to have this put on your Padlet. You can also upload the picture of your map to your Padlet because we are done adding to that. So you should have your map, you should have your religious mind map, which is what you're doing here, on your Padlet by the end of today. If you finish early, then you need to be finishing the language basics document if you did not finish that from earlier in the week because that was homework, or you can read chapter 7 for this week and chapter 8 will be next week. That is all from me. I hope you guys have a good weekend.